Hello and welcome to the fourth remote stage of the 2021 Indoor Archery World Series and our corresponding live event, the Rushmore Rumble. Now, normally we're in Sin City this weekend at the Vegas Shoot. That event has been delayed until April, and this tournament in Yankton is taking its spot this year. It's a little bit different to normal, and in fact, it's a very different Valentine's date. I have here to explain everything is World Art Chris Wells. Happy Valentine's Day, Chris, and can you tell us a little bit about the format for this tournament?
Happy Valentine's Day, Karim. Yeah, it's quite like Vegas, this one. Instead of the 3 days, just the two. But every archer on site shot 90 arrows. 60 yesterday, 30 today. And then the guys that are in the lead, the top scorers, the ones that have shot perfect over the 2 days, a perfect 900, will advance to the Championship Open Shootdown. That's the main event here at the Rushmore Rumble, much like it is in Vegas, and we'll be seeing that a little later. But before we get to it, we've got a couple of ties in some other divisions, some other championship compound divisions to settle too.
Yeah, so we're going to have 4 shoot downs on the session that we've got today. We're going to start with the youngsters, the youth division, moving on to the seniors, the women's, and then, of course, the men's. Chris, just to explain a little bit more about how the shoot down works. It's new to me.
Yeah, instead of a head-to-head match like we do at normal World Archery events, everyone who's qualified from the shoot-down will shoot together in a line, and it's basically sudden death. If you don't hit the maximum score, then you're eliminated. There's a few other procedural things. They'll all have one end of practice when they get into the arena. The first end will be on recurve scoring, the large 10 ring, which is what the rest of the tournament's on. And then when we get past that first end, we'll move into standard world archery scoring, where the small 10, the 2 centimeter 10 ring, counts as 10 points. Again, sudden death. If you don't hit the maximum, you're eliminated until one remains.
And that's quite interesting, because if I'm right in thinking, it'll be the first time that the archers will be shooting the small ring, the standard ring for World Archery.
Yeah, absolutely. This entire tournament is based on the NFAA rules, National Field Archery Association, which is the Big Ten ring, which is 4 centimeters, the same as recurves use. So compounds, they use the Big Ten like the recurves at this event. And then for the fourth stage of this Indoor World Series, which was the first 60 arrows, yesterday's score counted towards the fourth stage. We had to normalize the scores for the compound archers. We had to use the X count, which is the small 2 centimeter ring, and normalize those scores to have them count towards the indoor circuit, and our member in USA Archery, is kindly endorsing these scores to allow these archers to compete with slightly different rules.
Yeah, very flexible of them. And just tell us a little bit about, well, here we are in Yankton. It's a place well known for its archery.
Yeah, absolutely. We're at the Yankton NFAA Eastern Archery Center in South Dakota. It's hosted a couple of world championships already. We had the World Archery Indoor Championships there in 2018, the World Archery Youth Championships there in 2015. We were supposed to have the World Archery Field Championships there last year, but that's been delayed until 2021, 2022. And later this year, we'll be back in Yankton for the World Archery Championships, the main event. That's going to be held in about September time.
Yeah, well, as you can see, we're almost ready to get underway here. We've got a youth division coming up first. Chris, before we get to that, obviously we've got this remote competition going on at the moment. How's that been attended this time? The figures have been tremendous so far.
Yeah, there's been thousands of people take part in each event, and we had a 3,000, I think, in the November stage. Up to 4,500 over the last 3. Obviously, that's despite all the changing lockdowns and restrictions, and even this month, many people couldn't take part because of the weather. It's been extremely cold in all kinds of parts of the world. But yeah, absolutely fantastic response worldwide, and we've had some lovely messages from people during this fourth stage, just saying thank you for allowing us to take part in a competition, allowing us to shoot against other people, even if it's not in the regular format. So no, a fantastic project, and we've really learned a lot from it. Not to say it won't happen again, it will happen again like this in the future, but we've learned a lot about bringing archers together across locations and competing towards one prize.
Any special stories from this particular stage?
Oh, absolutely. The one I was following was in the barebow men's division. Eric Johnson, the five-time world field champion, he won the first three stages: November, December, and January. But him and his partner Lena, Swedish barebows, they've been shooting quite late on in the day. And yesterday we had a score from Ferruccio Berti from Italy. He shot the best score so far of the barebow men's division across the entire circuit at 579. A huge score to be laying down, and a huge challenge for Eric Johnson, who rose to the occasion today despite shooting a 5 in the first half and shot 581, 19 points dropped, and 5 of those in 1 hour in the first half. Had a fantastic back half, and I spoke to him just a few hours ago. He said he was ecstatic with the result. It's also his son's birthday today, turning 13. And yeah, unbeaten over this Indoor World Series. Four remote stages, 4 wins.
Great stuff, and we're not done yet, are we? I mean, I don't want to do too much of a spoiler alert, but this is the fourth stage of the series, but we've got a big one to come.
What's going to happen over the next couple of weeks is that we check all the scores from this fourth stage. So the initial results list should be out on Wednesday. We'll announce the winners of this first stage then, or before then. And then we'll announce the winners of the circuit overall. We've been doing the individual event on the open ranking this year. So that's the top 3 scores over the circuit of each archer, and that's how we'll rank them. And we'll be able to decide the circuit champions for this year. Interestingly enough, Brady Ellison, who was recurve men's world champion shooting in the Rushmore Rumble, his score, he shot the worst score of his indoor season at the Rushmore Rumble, only a 590, was shooting 598s before, and I think that's probably lost him the circuit title. Looks like it'll go to Ojin Heck, the London 2012 Olympic champion. But in 2 weeks' time, it's the team event where we'll have a final this year. The Indoor Archery World Series finals will be between the top 4 recurve teams and the top 4 compound teams. We're doing that completely remotely, so I know the guys behind our live stream today are very worried about that. I don't really know how it's going to go, but we'll all come together and make the most of it, make the best of it. 10,000 Swiss francs we're putting down on that remote final, so we've got to make it work.
Well, it'd be worth watching if nothing else. Not only for the archery, obviously. Look, troubling 12, 15 months we've had in the world as a whole. But it's great to have these online events, and it's great to be able to bring these live feature events as well, as we look back at the venue here in Yankton, South Dakota, sort of right in the middle of the USA, east-west, a little bit further north than the center, going north-south. But as Chris said, the weather's been pretty stark over there. So I think they'll be pretty pleased this is part of the indoor series. Chris, tricky 12 months, as I said. What's 2021 looking like for World Archery? Plans to start having some events?
Yeah, absolutely. We've shown a path back to archery using the local regulations, local health regulations, and our own ones, particularly for our events. There'll be some smaller events, a lot more social distancing, a lot more mask wearing, and we're confident that we're going to run a full indoor Hyundai Archery World Cup circuit starting in April. First one is in Guatemala. So yeah, looking forward to get back to it. Before then, we've got the Pan American Championships in Monterrey in Mexico, where we'll be awarding the next Olympic places, and it'll be the first time we award Olympic places since Asia, Bangkok, at the end of 2019. So I'm for sure really looking forward to getting back on this train and back on this Olympic qualification pathway. We'll then head into the Europeans, as well as the final Olympic qualifier in Paris, alongside the third stage of the Hyundai Archery World Cup. So yeah, a really exciting year coming up. We're going to have to be flexible. We're not going to cancel events as a first step. We're going to try and move them to a location where things can happen. Especially the World Cup stages if necessary. But we're confident that we can safely get back to archery in 2021.
And I think an interesting thing for a lot of people that are fans of sport in general is how much are the international federations collaborating with each other at this time? Because we've seen obviously the World Archery are doing great things for the community in terms of these events and everyone being able to take part and get involved. But is there a lot of interaction between the international federations?
Between the different sports, not so much. Obviously, we're all working together on the Olympics. That's the big thing this year. And there have been some news coming out recently about the playbooks, and they've shown or given a kind of pathway about how the Olympics is going to happen. A lot of updates on those over the next few months. But basically, it's all about social distancing, hand washing, mask wearing, and all of us going to Tokyo will have to be very clear about where we're going to be and all of our contact tracing to make sure those games can happen, because they were delayed a year from 2020 to 2021. But we all know that everyone's keen to get these games going, especially the athletes. I mean, they've been training for years of their life to compete for the Olympic titles. The atmosphere is going to be a little different. It's not going to be the same as a normal Olympic Games, but they deserve the right to shoot for those Olympic titles in Tokyo. And I'm confident, and we're all confident that it's going to go ahead, and looking forward to that Olympic pathway continuing, getting back on track, and getting to Japan to crown some Olympic champions later this year.
Yeah, that's the dream, isn't it? That's the hope. I mean, it's step by step, and we are slowly seeing the green shoots of future wonderful, beautiful plants, hopefully, because it's just been very, very tough for everybody. But coming back to what World Archery's done with these events, as we look like we're almost getting ready. We've got our venue host there doing a presentation to the crowd, probably explaining the very complicated rules. But yes, it's the small steps towards sport returning for full and safely are great to see.
For those of you that have heard that before, that's exactly what Vegas is. Okay, after each end, only those that are tied will continue in the shoot-off. But the championship numbers that 5 or less shooters is when we do the individual shooting. All right, I'm going to introduce our 2 announcers, Steve Anderson and Darren Christianberry, out here. They've been planning this for about 6 weeks, so they've got a great program for you. And I'm going to turn it over to them right now, and they're going to introduce the first division, which is the young adults. Welcome, everybody. Dan and I, with the announcing prowess we have, we're upset to not have microphone quality with matches. We're going to give you our best show today, starting with championship young adult male. Our first archer, from Illinois, Jacob Weber. Qualifying with a 972X from Ohio, Jeremy Schlegel. And with an impressive 986Xs from Washington,
Well, there we have it. The athletes coming out for the youth division here. It's Jacob Weber from New York, Jeremy Schlarbach from Ohio, and Brody Turner getting the biggest cheer of the lot. Chris, we heard our venue announcer saying that we're going to have a warm-up first, so the archers will get their eye in to get things underway.
Bruce Cull, the NFPA and Vegas Shoot president, reading out the rules just before we kick off. Same format as Vegas. It's one end of practice, one end of normal NFPA scoring, which is where that big 10, the recurve 10, counts as 10. And then we go to World Archery standard scoring, where the small 10, their X, the 2-centimeter ring, counts as 10 points. These guys, young adults, the young adult compound championship, as the NFPA calls it, much like the youth championships, the junior championship in World Archery rules. One of the things I love about this format is that the archers have to put their own targets up on the bales. I think it's great. You know, you really don't get help out there. It's all on you. Fantastic shooting from some of these young men. Brody Turner on the far side of the screen, the guy that got the biggest cheer, 86 X's. So if you look at that over the 3 days, it's about a 596 in World Archery scoring. Just 2 points dropped on the day on the small 10. Really good performance.
Certainly is. Well, the practice is about to get underway. Chris, how important are these first 3 arrows for these 3 archers?
Well, they've been shooting this 18-meter, 20-yard range all weekend. It's a different feeling when you get out there in front of people when there's a scholarship on the line. These guys are competing for a scholarship from the NFAA, which will help with their archery travel, their archery path. We've seen a lot of people come through the young adult championships and go on to win Vegas in the future. For example, last year's Vegas champion Carl Douglas, he took away a $54,000 prize for winning the Vegas shoot, and he won this event in Vegas in a previous year. I was going to say a previous life. He's still in his same life and a very young life at that. These guys really getting an experience at the highest level before potentially advancing on to the big stage.
Yeah, certainly a big opportunity for them at this fabulous archery center in Yankton in South Dakota. One other quick question as practice just about complete. The archers will go and retrieve their own arrows. Tell us about the timing for this. You've got your standard 3 arrows that you shoot, but usually there's a 20-second countdown clock.
So it's a bit longer the NFA. I think it's 30 seconds, but the timing is going to change this year and change from normal at Vegas. When we get down to 8 men in the compound championship, we're going to shoot 1 at a time. It's not going to happen for the previous rounds. We're just going to shoot all together. They're going to be given 30 seconds of time to shoot that, just to try and speed it up. But when we get to the championship open, that's when we're going to go 1 by 1 and really see who can handle the pressure down there.
Yeah, well, that's when the temperature will ramp up.
Oh.
Who shoots first? Low to high. You guys can figure that out, I hope. You know who was first, second, third in your X counts. Okay. So you shoot 1 arrow, you'll have 30 seconds on the clock. So watch that, you'll hear the beats. You shoot your arrow, you shoot your arrow, you shoot whoever it is, and you do it again 3 times. Got it? All right. Good luck to all of you. This is your first official scoring end of regular scoring.
Well, here we go. It's time for the youth age group shoot down. We are down to 3. Jacob Weber, Jeremy Schlarbach, and Brody Turner. They will shoot 1 by 1. "30 seconds for each archer." And they will shoot their 3 arrows. So we're back to the second rotation. And Jacob Weber. So, Chris, as we go through this second rotation, we are about to start the third. Just a reminder, we are looking for the highest score first, and then the other archers have to match that to stay in. Is that right?
Yeah, if someone shoots a 30, anyone less than a 30 is eliminated. If the highest scores a 29, anything less than a 29 is eliminated. So If you miss, you're out. That's the basic rule. And we'll get to see some of the targets when we get down to the more serious stuff, when we get off this small, the big 10 ring and onto the small 10 rings.
Yeah, with all three of these archers shooting perfect scores through to this point, the Big 10 certainly makes a difference. A shrug of the shoulders there from Brodie Turner on his last arrow. And the archers will go down to the targets, but they will stop on that line there to give the target judges time to come and check the scores. So we're going to start with Brodie Turner on the far left of the screen.
Brodie Turner, 30.
So that is the target score to go to. That also looks like a 30 as well. I believe that is Jeremy Schlabach, also on the 30.
Jacob Weber, 30.
So all three remain with perfect scores and will move forward to the next end. They're just having a second check here. So looks like it's a confirmation of the 30s for all three, and all will progress on to the next end. So Chris, the targets change.
So the targets stay the same. These targets, the NFAA style targets, they have both a small 10 ring and a big 10 ring on them. Normally in World Archery competition, you'll see specific targets used for the recurve and the compounds with only their 10 ring on there. These guys, because the compounds count X's indoors, and they've got both. So what they know as the X now counts as 10 points, and this is where it gets interesting.
X counts as a 10, and the rest of the yellow is a 9.
Well, there you go. Confirmation twice there, once from Chris and once from our in-venue announcer, Bruce Cole. So on to end number 2 and the small 10. Right, well, that looks like a door may have opened up there from Jacob Weber. So a bit of pressure now, Chris, on this young man, Jacob Weber.
Yeah, Weber drops a 9 with his first arrow. Looks like we've got 10s from the other two, though.
Is that another 9 as well?
Now that small 10, much more difficult to hit over the 18-meter range, and he's pushing those hard, and he would have hit them with all of his previous arrows, practice on that first end, but not comfortable. Now we've gone down to the small X ring, which they haven't been shooting this weekend.
Yeah, it's a big change in pressure, but it looks like another 10 from Brodie Turner. Tough final arrow from Jacob Weber here. 2 9s, and that does indeed look like a 10, so finishes with a 28. And that looks to me like another 10, so it's a 30 for Jeremy Schlabach. And it's 3 10s for Brodie Turner by the looks of things as well. So it looks like we are going to lose Jacob Weber from the youth age group here. They'll step up to the preliminary line, give them a better opportunity to look at their arrows. But Chris, that does look like 2 30s and a 28.
No, you're absolutely right. Weber just not comfortable now. We've gone down to the small 10. Misses high with his first one, misses high with his second one. No pressure on his third arrow. You can't really come back from that when your two opponents have shot 10s up until that point. He knew he was going out.
Yeah, we'll wait for confirmation of that. Sudden death element of this tournament looks like it may well have claimed its first victim. And there we have it, confirmation. Jacob Weber finishes the youth age group in third place. A great performance, just dropping 2 9s for the first time in the tournament here in that second end. He will retire. And a great effort from Jacob Weber, but the Rushmore Rumble is over for him. He will claim the third place spot. So it's down to Jeremy Schlarbach and Brody Turner. Jacob Weber just taking his time to retrieve not only his arrows, but also the target and tag from the bale. Should be very happy with his work this weekend. He goes out in end number 2. It'll be Brody Turner and Jeremy Schlarbach who will go into end number 3.
Leading off will be Jeremy Schlarbach, another end of X-ring scoring.
So Jeremy Schlarbach there will begin end number 3. Still the same objective. Get the highest possible score and hope your opponent drops points. Didn't look too happy with that one, but it does still look like it's in the small 10. Might measure.
He's pulled that one right, Karim. I think that's a 9 with the second arrow. Top seed Turner with those impressive 86 X's over the first 90 arrows here. Getting in a commanding spot with these last 2 arrows. This third end.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see whether Schlarbach's second arrow is in the 9. Nothing he can do about that second arrow. Puts the third into the 10. So provisionally, according to Chris Wells, a 29. And Brody Turner here could potentially win this with another 10. Crowd thinks it's Brody Turner's. Chris?
I think it's Brody Turner's as well. That second arrow was called a 9 by our spotters, but I think it's fat enough to have caught that small 2-centimeter 10 ring. And the two archers congratulating each other. That looks like it's over. That looks like it's a win on target number 4, but we'll wait for the confirmation.
Yeah, they did do the fist bump. There was another curious look there from Schlarbach there, closest to us. Well, there you go. It is second place for Jeremy Schlarbach. It's Another brilliant performance from Brodie Turner. 86 X's in his 900 to get to this stage, and he hasn't dropped a point in the shoot down. Brodie Turner is the champion of the youth age group division. Well, there was a little interview going on there. We were hoping to pick up the sound from it, but we couldn't quite get it. A great performance from Brodie Turner throughout the competition. 900 to get here with, as you said, 86 X's, and then another perfect set of arrows to get through the ends of the final.
Yeah, I mean, he shot so well in those first 90 arrows to make the final. 86 X's is a fantastic score in the senior division, let alone in the young adult, and well clear of his second place man, Jeremy Schlarbach. And the reason those X's matter is because that is what the 10 is when you get to the small 10. And he was just far and away the best archer on that small 10 through the 90 arrows of qualification, if you want to call it, for the shoot down, and in the shoot down itself. He was exceptional.
Yeah, brilliant stuff and great format. I love it. I think it's really interesting to see how the archers going up against each other in this format. And it's interesting, even though we only started with 3, you felt the tension rise a little bit when Jacob Webber went out in end number 2.
Yeah, and he shot so well in that first end. All of his arrows were hitting the small 10 in that first end. As soon as we went down to the small 10 on scoring, he just opened up. He put too high, and that was it. In a sudden death situation, it really is. If you miss, you're not in a good shape. It's really hit the middle or get eliminated, and we'll see that as we get later. 20 compound men going for the championship open title, and they'll be in the same boat.
Yeah, you're right at that point about it's brutal, isn't it? I mean, Jeremy Schlarbach, he only dropped 119 in the whole tournament, and that was enough to give Brodie Turner the title. But it looks like we are already ready to move on to the senior division. Let's hand over to Bruce Cull in the venue.
And shooting out for first place from Texas, Michael Brady. Our final competitor from Ohio, Randy Morocco.
Shoot first. So third's going to go first. Yeah.
Well, the archers presented out on to the field of play by Bruce Cull. And as you can see, they are putting their own targets up as part of the format of this competition. That is what happens. And shooting for top spot, it's Michael Braden of Texas and Randy Morocco of Ohio. Chris, we've got a couple of other archers out there shooting for the placings. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a shoot down for any of the top 3 spacings at these events. We've got 2 archers shooting for first place, tied on the same score, Michael Braden and Randall Morocco. The other guys, the other 4 archers there, all shooting for third place in this event. There's a big difference in money between third and fourth place. So it's just as important.
This will be your first practice in.
Yeah, it certainly is when money's at stake, shooting for the places. We will have our practice arrows. All of the archers will shoot their 3. Chris, an opportunity to really talk about how inclusive archery is. People of all ages taking part, as proven here. We had the youth division to start with, and now we move on to the seniors.
Yeah, and the senior division has been really, really strong in in NFA competition for quite some time. Masters competition for World Archery getting more and more popular. Neems introduced Masters events just a little while ago. Some of these archers have been fantastic in the pro circuit and in the senior circuit before this, but they've really moved on and are being just as impressive now. They're in the Masters category. There's a lot of money in Masters archery, especially in the NFAA. One of the biggest prize pots going at the Vegas shoot, behind the Championship Open and Championship Williams divisions as well.
And how are these prize pots funded, or is that a silly question?
Well, entering one of these tournaments of the NFA isn't cheap. A lot of the prize money comes from the archers themselves. The championship division went up a little while ago, and it's a few $100s to enter the championship category in Vegas. But in Vegas, you've got nearly 4,000 archers competing, so a little bit from everyone's entry goes to fund that top prize. There's also a lot of money put on this by the sponsors, especially this event. A bunch of them pre-funded this one to make sure it could go ahead, because with all the uncertainty, nobody knew if it would actually happen. So a lot of support from the industry, a lot of support from archers themselves. Entry fees are actually quite high in America, especially for these events where you have professional categories.
Yeah, money a big thing, but it's certainly helping these archers compete. I mean, if you think about the States, it's a huge place just to compete nationally for a lot of these athletes. Will hit the pocket very hard. So prize money, all important to them and for their continuation in the sport. Well, we've had our practice. Looks like someone's getting taking an opportunity to get a good picture of the venue here. That's in the placings side of this shoot down. We are focused on Michael Braden and Randy Morocco, who are shooting for top spot. Let's get on with end number one.
Tim Order starting us off. This is the third place shoot-off. We've got 4 archers shooting for third place. This is Keith Trail. Very successful senior archer. And Paul Penrod shot 71 X's. And Tim Gillingham, the hammer, they call him. 73 X's and the top seed, if you will, in this third place shoot-off.
So going for top spot here in the seniors. So, Chris, it looks like they're going to rotate through the placings matches ends first. Are we assuming that we're going to switch over to first and second place immediately after, or will they complete the third place playoff first?
It looks like we're going to complete the third place playoff first and then move on to the first and second, which is only fair, I think. Oh, and that doesn't look like a good arrow from Tim Gillingham. I think he's got it.
Ordis looks like he's on a 30 there. Trail also looking like a 30, although the bottom left target slightly obscured. So, looks like it's all round 30s. Round of applause from the crowd here for the 4 athletes who are shooting off for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th places. Chris, anything of note there? Did I miss anything? It looked like everyone hit the Big Ten.
No, absolutely, and it should be all Big Tens at this point. These guys have only dropped 2 points over the 90 arrows, 2 out of the Big Ten. These 3rd place archers. So it would be a bit of a shock if they missed it getting into this final. This is where it really matters. So when we get down to the small 10, like we saw with the young adults, where we'll see things go awry for sure.
The target judges making their calls.
All 30s, all time.
There you go. Everyone through the first end. Nerves will be settled, but the pressure goes up now as we move on to the small 10. And as Chris said, it's what we saw being the decisive factor in the young adults division. Will it be the decisive factor in the slightly older division? Chris, experience plays a big part in archery. Do you think they're going to be able to handle it?
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, the Masters division, as we call it, the senior division, as the NFPA calls it, is exceptionally popular. Keith Trails won a lot of big events, and Tim Gillingham, who was a pro in the kind of adult division before moving on. As we get into the end number 2.
Long hold there for Ordis. Looks like it's safely into the X-ring though, into the 10. Well, that one could be in the bigger ring for Keith's Trail.
Difficult to see at that zoom, but I think Keith Trail tickling the edge of that small 10 ring. I'm not sure he's going to get it on closer inspection.
Looks like it's 10s for the rest though, so that's first arrow, top target for Trail, the one that we'll be looking out for when the target judges go down to do the scores. Ordis back onto the line. And there you go, a clearer picture there.
I might reassess my initial assessment. I think Keith's managed to grab that one on the left, but Tim Ordis has one that's going to need closer inspection.
Very unique draw from the hammer, as you call him, Tim Gillingham.
extremely lanky chap. He's got long arms and he's got a huge arm on that trigger release of his that he hammers.
Well, I'd say there were 2 10s there, but I think I'm with you. That first one could be a 9 for Ordis. That may well be Paul Penrod's competition done.
That looks like a 28 from Tim Gillingham. I think we've actually gone far enough to name our winner here. We'll get confirmation down from the judges, but I think Keith Trail's taken this one as the only archer to shoot a perfect 30 in that second end.
Well, we wait to hear what the judges say, but as you can see from Paul Penrod there, just patting Keith Trail on the shoulder, I think you may well be right, Chris. Well, you know, when the magnifying glass comes out, something's happening. So it was confirmation of Trail's 30 there that we just heard. Right, 29 for Ordis. So that was 2 that we just heard at the end there. Having another look at Gillingham's target. They move on to Penrod. We think Trail is on a 30. We're pretty sure that Ordis is on a 29. Just waiting for confirmation on Gillingham and Penrod. This for third place in the Masters division.
Keith Trail will be your third place finisher.
So there you have confirmation. Keith Trail has taken the third place shoot down. Ordis, Penrod and Gillingham on 29s, and their placings will be decided by a count back across all of their arrows across the tournament. X is obviously counting first, but it's third place for Keith Trail as the archers have retrieved their arrows and they now clear the bales of their targets and their name tags. Rushmore Rumble 2021 is done for them, but we still have first place to settle. It's a shoot down between Michael Braden and Randy Morocco coming your way very, very soon. Well, Chris, a great third place shoot-off. And again, it was when we went down to the smaller 10s that that's when we saw the difference between the archers.
Randy will be leading off. This will be the first scoring end, scoring Big 10 as a 10.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Karen. This first end that we're coming into now, it will be on the large 10 again, and I don't expect to see any misses. It's in the second end where we're seeing archers drop, and I think it's being accentuated by the fact we're shooting 1 hour at a time, which has never been done in NFAA competition before. The pressure is much higher than normal, I think.
Yeah, rotate from one side of the shooting line to the other. Michael Braden with his first arrow. Both shooting very good first arrows as well.
They've already had those 3 hours of practice to make sure their sight marks are right, to make sure they're comfortable in the arena. So this first end is just business as usual, same as they've been doing for the rest of the weekend. Keep them in that Big 10 and wait for the tough stuff in end number 2.
The contrast in their actions is quite dramatic. All very efficient, smooth and calm from Randy Morocco. There's just a little bit more movement in Michael Braden's draw.
Moves his head a lot to get that backhand behind the back of his ear and make sure his nose is on the string in the right place. End of the day, compound archery is all about execution. So once you've set up, well, as long as you're on aim, as long as you're stable on aim and you can get it away quickly, get it away effectively, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and it was effective from both of them. Really excellent shooting in that first end. Both, I think, would get the maximums even with the smaller 10 ring.
Yeah, absolutely. But mentally, it's not tough to hit that big thing, that big 10 ring once you've been shooting it for the last 2 days. It's when the small one comes into play that we see in Vegas and other NFA tournaments, them start to drop. We've seen it here so far. I'd be interested to see if they open up significantly in the second end, or they're able to keep tight. These guys have shot exceptionally well over the weekend so far. 78 X's from Michael Braden and 71 from Randall Morocco.
Yeah, incredible shooting throughout the tournament and a great first end. But now we go down to the small 10. It's time for end number 2. Randy Morocco from Ohio. And Morocco with a 10 facing Michael Braden from Texas. Still perfect for me, Chris. They're both hitting the small 10.
Critical first arrows, isn't it? To that move from the big to the small 10. They both delivered exceptional shots low in the central ring. That one high and right. It's difficult because these arrows are fatter than we normally allow in World Archery competition. 9.7 millimeter diameter maximum rather than 9.3. So it's difficult to tell, even if it's just tickling the edge of that outer 10 ring. It might have clipped it if it's at the right angle on the middle one. Oh.
Michael Braden doesn't look happy with that one. That is a clear indication why. Now, these third arrows in this second end are critical for both with archers. Well, there's 2 10s there. That second arrow, we're still not sure about. Good attention from Michael Braden. A fist bump, looking like including one here. Chris, what are your thoughts?
Braden's got a 29. They think Randall Morocco has got a 30. It all depends on that second arrow from Randall Morocco. If he's clipped the 10 with it, the top target face, he's won this. It doesn't matter how far that top arrow's out. If it's hit the yellow, it's a 9.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah, it looks
just
about
like to call it. They were about to. But I think the second judge is just going to have another look. I think we know what the result is, though. It will be Michael Braden taking second place. And the title goes to Ohio's Randy Morocco.
It was all about that second arrow of that last second end. Randall Morocco just pushed it a bit to the right and a bit high, but it was enough inside to clip the right edge of the small 10 ring. Michael Braden sent one low and slow, and it didn't hit anywhere near. Just 29 points, just 1 point drop, but when your opponent shot 30 in this sudden death, it's not enough.
Yeah, that second arrow was the crucial one, and it meant that Randall Morocco has taken the Rushmore Rumble Masters. Again, it's that second end that is really where we're starting to see the difference. So is this going to continue throughout? And let's not forget, we've effectively got another small shoot down before we get to one where we're going to have 20 athletes.
Yeah, this is all warm-up for the main event, the Championship Open, which is open to everybody, the big prize. And obviously, we've got that switch to the small 10 as well in that one, but we've got 20 starting. And a lot of these guys have shot a lot of X's over the weekend, so I don't expect to see, it decided in the second or even third ends. It should take a little bit longer. Plenty to go before then, though. It's the women's shoot-downs for both third place and the win.
Yeah, we certainly are looking forward to this. I think we've got a short glimpse of Paige Pierce-Gore as she came out. The rest of the athletes being called out here as well. Toya Ellison coming out will be shooting for first place in this division. And Denmark's very own Tanya Jensen will be going up against Toya Ellison. As we can see, as we saw in the Masters division, 2 sets of archers. Those closest to us, Tanya Jensen and Toya Ellison, who will be shooting for first place. And the third and fourth place playoff going on to the left of the screens. And that's Paige Pierce-Gore on the left-hand side. And is that Ruiz she's going up against in the third place playoff, Chris?
Yes, Alexis Ruiz, the world #1 right now. Paige Pierce, obviously, very, very talented archer. She won the Indoor World Series Finals in Vegas last year. Became only the 6th archer in history to shoot 900 in Vegas as well last year. But Alexis Ruiz, currently the world #1 in world archery.
Yeah, stormed onto the scene, Alexis Ruiz, in the last full season before things were brought to a halt by the global pandemic. But again, we're seeing her competing in the closing stages of a tournament as we return to archery. Ruiz there on the left in the blue t-shirt, up against Paige Pierce on the right. We have our practice session where all 4 athletes will shoot their 3 arrows as a bit of a warm-up, and then we will go on to that 3rd place playoff. It's quite neat, isn't it, that they shoot their practice arrows all together, and then those shooting for the title will actually 10-15 minute break before they shoot their next arrow.
The most important thing is just to check your sights in the right place, though, and you see if you saw on the right there when we had a look at the targets that both Toya and Tanya went a little high, and whether it's a different hole, there's 2 holes in Yankton, they might have been shooting in the other one, whether it's a slightly different bail, whether it's just the chance they've had to relax in the meantime, you don't know, but you want to be confident when there's money on the line and with this kind of sudden death format where every arrow absolutely counts, just that your sight's in the right place, and that's what they're taking this opportunity for. It's same conditions for all of them, right? The 3rd place will go straight away, and the 1st place will hang on for a little while. You just saw Paige Pierce shooting there. She's got some tape around her neck, her arm, and that's because she dropped one of her points when she hit her arm with her bow. Most compound archers don't wear braces or anything because there's a lot of string clearance between the string and the arm, and it's very unusual, especially for someone of her talent and experience to do that. But she hit her arm with the string, and it sent an arrow into the 9. So she's got quite a sting on her forearm with that. She's wearing tape to cover that and protect it, I guess, in case it happens again.
Very interesting. I hadn't noticed that myself. That's of course why you are here. But as you say, we will be having that 3rd place playoff, shooting for 3rd and 4th. Paige Pierce and Alexis Ruiz to the left of your screens as we look down the 18-meter target. A bit of a delay here, but they're very relaxed, these archers are. Chris, have you had much of a chance to talk to any of these athletes taking part and how much they're enjoying actually being back on the shooting line and shooting in a competition for real?
Just with everything with the Indoor World Series, the response has been fantastic. We've had some great messages from people who are just so happy to get out there and out shooting again. And these guys are a much larger event than many of us have been able to attend, and this is their jobs, their careers. Being able to be out there and shoot again is important.
Alexis Ruiz gets the 3rd place shoot down underway. Hits the 10 on the big targets to start with, and there you can see the tape that Chris was referring to, protecting an injury caused by a string hitting Paige Pierce's left arm. Also shooting a 10. Ooh. I think that probably is still going to be a 10, isn't it, Chris? It's just clipping the line.
Yeah, that's a half shaft in. We're in the big 10 end, the 1st end. So good she gets that one out the way here because that's a very clear 9 in end number 2. Paige Pierce, no doubt, 10s this time on that big 10 and would be 10s next time on that little 10. And these guys are both used to shooting the World Archery small 10 ring. So shouldn't be any doubts in their mind what they're aiming for when we get to end number 2.
Yeah, 30 there for Alexis Ruiz, but she won't be happy with that 2nd arrow. And just a sign of confidence on that 2nd arrow after it was shot for Paige Pierce. Bit of a longer hold this time. Just a little lower and to the right than the previous 2, but both on clear 30s, and both will take this on to another end. Chris, did you notice that? You know, they're very relaxed and they were laughing and chatting with each other beforehand, but Paige Pierce does seem to have a little bit of grit and determination on her face.
Paige Pierce is a fantastic competitor. second place at the World Archery Championships in 2019, won the Indoor World Series last year. A very talented archer, and yeah, only the sixth woman to shoot a perfect 900 in Vegas when we were there just 12 months ago this weekend. She was starting off her 2020 well when everything kind of fell apart with the COVID-19 pandemic. She's a fantastic shot, and as is Alexis Ruiz. Both these archers know each other very well as members of the US team. There won't be any stress about who they're facing in this very much US dominated event, but both will want to win.
Yeah, of course they will, and knowing each other is one thing, but they're here to get some prize money as well as get on the podium. And Alexis Ruiz has stormed onto the scene in the last couple of years, and it's great to see her back on the shooting line up against her opponent. All scored the first, so these two, Paige Pierce and Alexis Ruiz, will go on to end number 2. Well, that is exceptionally close. I think it's just clipping the line of the small 10. Chris, what do you reckon?
I think you're being very, very generous. It's difficult to see, obviously, but I had a good lean into my screen here, and I think that one's probably a 9. No doubt from Paige Pierce with her first arrow. That's a 10. It's close. It's close, and they'll probably continue to shoot as if it's tied. But I think Paige Pierce might already have an advantage in this one.
I'm going to stick with. I think that might be clipping the line, Chris. The second one's certainly a 10. Now that's an interesting one as well.
As we've seen with these fat arrows, if it's inside the line of that big 10, it's probably okay. No doubt with that third one from Wiz, but that first arrow could decide this match already.
Yeah. Going to be a tricky one. As it's happened so far in this competition, it's when we go down to those smaller 10 rings that it makes a big difference.
But that was a critical last shot from Paige Pierce. She definitely missed that high. So now she'll need Alexis Ruiz to have missed that first one for this to continue. Otherwise, we'll turn it around. It was Ruiz who may have blinked first. It's some critical line calls, and they're both taking a good look at it.
Yeah, they certainly are, aren't they? Well, what a turn up. This one's turned out to be. They're both smiling as though, they've... Except, well, can you read too much into that? Are they both smiling because they both dropped 1 point and they know they're going on to a third? Judges taking a good look.
All tied up. Let's do it again.
So there you go. Well, all tied up. So we're assuming then that they both got 29.
Yeah, absolutely. That third shot from Paige Pierce. They were joking as they went down to the target. She lifted her bow arm, saying she heeled it a bit, and it hit the big 10 ring half shaft. So definitely out of that little 10, that 2 centimeter World Archery 10. Alexis Ruiz was really, really close. I thought she'd blinked first, and it turned out when we got down there, she had the small margins here are well, small for lack of a better word. Paige Pierce needed that one to be called out to continue this third place shoot off, and she got it.
Yeah, the opportunity was there for Paige Pierce, but she didn't take it. So we will move on. This for third place in the women's division. New targets on the bales for both of the athletes. It's time to see who can take this, and it's time for end number 3.
And we will continue on with the The same X-ring scoring in the same order. Alexis, you will shoot first.
So good first shot from Alexis Ruiz. Matched by Paige Pierce. Little grimace on the face there.
That one's going to be close as well, but more likely that she's grabbed that than the first one, I think. In the first end.
Well, looks like that one has gone high and right. Could be an opportunity here for Alexis Ruiz when she thought all was gone. But that one is close as well. I would say that's probably a 9. So Paige Pierce, I think, has dropped 1 point at least in the first 2 hours. Needs a 10 here to stay in with a chance. Happy with that. And that's why. So, Chris, I've got them marked as 229s again. You?
Yeah, we'll be going to a fourth end in this one, it looks like. Second arrow from Paige Pierce. High and right again, like her arrow in the second end. Flung it, heeled it, put a bit too much, low in the handle, and it went high. But Alexis Ruiz not taking advantage of that mistake in that one with her opponent dropping first.
Still laughs and giggles between the two, which I'm sure they can afford because they know that they're both moving on. I wonder if it's going to be laughs and giggles if one of them doesn't drop a point.
I remember
Interesting.
This is third place rather than the win. We've got that one coming up in a little while.
Yeah, but tension's still high here for these athletes, even though they don't seem to be showing it. As you said, Chris, this is all about prize money. The difference between third and fourth, a difference worth fighting for. As one of our target judges has pulled out the microphone. The microphone. He's pulled out the magnifying glass and the lamp to measure one of Alexis Ruiz's arrows. I think it's the second one.
The top target looking a bit closer than perhaps we called it. If that gets marked down, it'll be Paige that takes this. Taking another look again, it must be exceptionally tight.
Yeah, they're having a good old gander at this one.
I am a big fan of the judge uniform in the NFAA, the white and black stripes. Very American football.
Well, looks like third place has gone to Paige Pierce there on a big measure. It looks like it was 2 9s from Alexis Ruiz, giving her a 28. Just a single drop point from Paige Pierce, giving her 29. And both the archers taking a really good look at that top target arrow from Alexis Ruiz. Smiles all around, but I'm not sure they're entirely convinced by the calling. They've accepted it. It will be Paige Pierce who finishes in third. Alexis Ruiz having to settle for fourth place. Well, that was a tight one, Chris.
Yeah, we didn't see that coming at all. Drop points in end number 2 from both archers. Then end number 3, there was a clear drop point from Paige Pierce, and then a kind of clear drop point from Alexis Ruiz. But we thought that top target had caught at the bottom of the 10 ring. Judge took a look, took a long look, and eventually ruled that it was out as well. So Paige Pierce, the reigning Indoor Archery World Series champion from last year, she won it in Vegas, and reigning Vegas champion, takes the third place here at the Rushmore Rumble.
Well, that's third place sorted out. This is what it's all about, though. This for first place, it's Tanya Jensen of Denmark in the black and yellow shirt against Toya Ellison in the red and black shirt. It's time for end number 1. So we start with the Big 10 ring, and so far we've seen all the archers getting perfect scores. That's a great start from Toya Ellison, though. Well, perhaps even better from Tanya Jensen. How important are the first arrows of these shoot downs?
Yeah, well, to make it to these shoot downs, these medal matches, effectively, you really can't miss the middle. These women here have missed 1 point over the 90 arrows, but when you go in the mentality with you cannot miss. At this first end of the shoot down, you know what it takes to get here. You've proven that you can do it, and it's really getting your eye in for end number 2, which is where we've seen the points dropped, and that switch to end number 2. The furthest we've seen a shoot down go so far at this event is the third end. See if these girls can extend it a little bit further.
Well, 10s all round for Ellison. Happy news in the Ellison house in recent times as well.
New parents are Toya and Brady. The man came into being at the end of last year, and also just recently Toya became an American citizen, a US citizen. Wouldn't be a surprise to see her move over to the US team in the coming months and join what's becoming somewhat of a star-studded compound women's squad since Linda Ochoa Anderson went over from Mexico. Got Paige Pierce, got Alexis Ruiz. It's not going to be an easy team to make.
Yeah. A wealth of talent in America already, and you then add Ellison to that. Both archers shooting perfect 30s in end 1, so we will move on to end number 2, and of course we move on to the smaller 10 ring as Ellison just making some adjustments to the back of a target to make it a little clearer for shooting.
It's
so
just
all
bring
square.
the arrow down the back to bring some of the paper shards back into line.
Absolutely. We want as clean the targets as possible to shoot at as we go into end number 2. Well, as soon as the small 10 comes into play, that's the effect it has. So advantage Tanya Jensen.
Commanding first shot, inside out X. And Toya's trailing in this one early.
That's Jensen's target with the first arrow tickling the spider. What can she do with her second? Well, that looks like it's in the 10 as well. Quite a long way into the bail. Long hold. So it looks like it's 2 10s and a 9 from Ellison. Are we going to get a third 10 from Jensen to seal first place? Well, we don't. That's a clear 9 for me. And Chris, well, you tell me, are we all square still?
Yeah, 29 plays 29. It's into end number 3. Tanya Jensen obviously had a chance to win it with that last arrow, but you could see on her face as she let go. Front arm dropped really when she released, and that went out of the big 10 as well, not just out of the little 10. But as long as it hits the yellow, it's a 9, so just 1 point dropped, and they'll go through to end number 3, all tied at 29 in end number 2.
Yeah, amazing stuff. That's not the first time we've seen an athlete with the opportunity to take the win. And so often when the opportunity is there for archers, they do take it. But in this particular format, it looks like it's just a little bit more pressure for them. So Jensen had a chance to take it with a 10 with her final arrow, dropped it into the 9s, and both archers remain in this women's shoot down. Replacing the targets. So, Chris, regular to replace targets after just 2 ends in archery?
Not usually. It's difficult. These bales are not as consistent as some targets we shoot at. They're used in Vegas and by the NFAA, made by Morel. Fantastically durable targets, but they're quite bumpy, shall we say. And you can see that the archers go behind and level them out a bit, and that's just to kind of make sure they fit against those bumps. Changing them makes it a bit tauter on the line, and it's important. It's important to score those arrows well as we go into end number 3.
Well, fresh targets, and it's Toya Ellison who will shoot first. Survived the second by dropping a 9 on her first arrow. Hits the 10 with her first arrow of the third. That is pretty close. I'm thinking that has just touched the line of the small 10, so will be counted as a 10. Another close one, but I think the same as Tanya Jensen's first one. That will just clip the line. Slightly quicker release that time. I don't think I can call that one, Chris.
Difficult to see from this angle. Very similar to the previous arrows we've seen that could be on the line, could be out. They are fat shafts they're shooting.
Another one that's difficult to call.
Let's give them all the benefit of the doubt, though.
Well, I'd say there are 3 arrows there between the 2 archers that are exceptionally close. I've provisionally got it down as a 28 for Tanya Jensen and a 29 for Toya Ellison. Your thoughts, Chris?
Could be a 29-29. The judges are going to take a really, really good look at these, I believe. There's 2 judges taking a look at each arrow, and only if there's a disagreement, I believe, will they bring in the third to make a decision. Bottom one from Tanya.
That's tricky. I think the only one that is confirmed for Tanya Jensen is the top one as a 10. And we're still unsure as to the left and right, bottom left and right targets. And the judges also not so sure. Tricky angle to see this one from. I think if either of them are in, it's likely to be that left one. As we to Toya Ellison's target. Well, we're all tied. And they were, you said it, Chris. Give them the benefit of the doubt. They're all tied at 30 apiece, so all of them were in.
So in World Archery, you shoot 9.3mm maximum shafts, and we're very used to seeing them, you and I, Karen, because we see them in competition all the time. The shafts allowed by the NFA are a little bit thicker, up to 9.7 millimeters, and it just gives that little bit extra line breaking ability. It does make them fly that little bit slower, and I think it's what gives that really satisfying smack when we hear them hit these targets. They've got a bit of weight and a bit of momentum behind them. I think it also makes them a bit more critical if you shoot a bad shot.
Yeah, well, it certainly does. Well, look, it was a nervy second and a nervy third. It's time to see whether we can separate Toya Ellison and Tanya Jensen in end number 4. Confidence there from Ellison in her action. You could see on her face she knew that one was good. That one potentially even better. A look of concern, but that looks like it's a solid 10 as well. Well, that's clear for all to see. A big opportunity here for Toya Ellison to take the women's shoot down here. She knows that she's got that, and there is proof. Another 30 from Ellison. It doesn't matter what Tanya Jensen does here. It was a 9 in her second arrow. She finishes off with another 10, tickling the spider. A 29 for Tanya Jensen, but it's not enough. Toya Ellison, well, subject to the judges confirming, but the big fist pump, I think, gave it away. Toya Ellison has taken the women's shoot down here at the Rushmore Rumble.
Yeah, she survived a couple of dodgy ends in the second and third, but no doubt in this one, Jensen shot that second arrow low. We've seen it in each of the ends so far. She just drops that front hand a bit more reactionary than some of her other shots, and it went really, really low. Ellison just took advantage. 3 excellent 10s. Fantastic performance from the new mum.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Toya Ellison, new mum, in great shape after just 4 months from giving birth. And you can see the emotion there as well in her face. Well, unfortunately, we're not picking up the sound from the interview. Great to hear what Toya Ellison had to say. But the key thing here for me, Chris, is that emotion. And that is what we've all missed as sports fans, seeing the emotion on the faces of our winners.
Yeah, absolutely, and we go to Vegas once a year. It's not our normal type of competition, but I love how this tournament just gets tenser and tenser and tenser as it comes down to the end, you know. And this new change for this year that's being tested at the Rushmore Rumble, where only 1 arrow gets shot at a time, really just builds that pressure fantastically, and you can see it just explode out of Toya when she won that one.
Yeah, amazing stuff from both of them in a really intriguing match, as you said, Chris, where the archers both had a couple of wobbles in a couple of the ends, but it was a lovely shooting from Toya Ellison to take it in the 4th, and she does take the women's tournament. But now it's the one that we've all been waiting for. Look, 20 archers. What on earth's going to go on here, Chris?
Yeah, it's what we've seen of late, the last 2 years in Vegas. This event's replacing Vegas. Obviously, we've had more than 20 archers in the final. But the last 2 years particularly, they've gone down quickly. We haven't had these super long shoot downs in the Championship Open event that we've seen previously, and we don't know why. We don't know whether it's the nerves, whether it's the switch earlier to the small 10, because in previous years it's been a few 3-4 ends on the big 10 before we get to the small 10, but it was taking hours. Now we get to that small 10 early and people drop fast. 20 fantastic archers, 3 world champions, 4 world champions in the list of archers. Loads of Vegas wins between them. Going to be a fantastic show.
Well, it looks like we are ready to go, and let's hand over to Bruce Cull in the venue to announce our archers out.
From Michigan, 900 with 71X, Scott Shearer. From Kansas, 900 with 72 X's, James Ball. From Tennessee, a brand new competitor to the scene, 900 with 74 X's, Chance Bobeth. From West Virginia, a 75X shooter, Cody Seitz. And a legend of the game, from Maine, the Cooge, Dave Cousins. Hailing from Missouri, 900 with 77 X's, Sam Waltice. And a New Yorker, Lewis Price, qualifying with a 977X. Escaping lockdown from California, 977X's, Mark O'Mell. From Kansas, 979X's, Jeff Rainey. Qualifying with a 900, breaking the 80X barrier, from Minnesota, Nick Cappers. And we had to put this guy in front of a defroster. It was a little bit too cold outside for his Florida bones. Jesse Broadwater. Coming all the way from New York, shooting a 900 with 81 X's, Jacob Slusars. Standing 6 feet 10 inches tall, from Indiana, Dane Johnson. Hailing from Boston, shooting a 981 X's, Brad Galantine. Our next shooter comes from Alabama, shooting a 900 with 83 X's, Robert Householder. Coming to us from Colorado, shooting a 900 with 84 X's, Jacob the Body Pettit. And our second Danish competitor of the night, shooting a 900 with 85 X's, the Assassin, Stefan Hansen. And our top qualifier, shooting a 900 with 87 X's, hailing from the north, the Canuck, Chris Perkins. All right,
well, there we have it. 20-man lineup for the showcase final here, the men's shootdown.
27 states here and 4 foreign countries. This group represents 15 states and 3 countries. Incredible, from all over the place. Give them all a big hand again.
Well, there you go, 3 countries, obviously mainly US citizens, but we've got a Canadian and a Dane, and they in fact qualified first and second, looking to steal the show here at the Rushmore Rumble.
Also, if you've been watching what we're doing, you're all going to shoot at once. You're going back to a regular timer for your 3 arrows. The minute we get down in the neighborhood of 5 shooters, you'll be going person by person, arrow by arrow, okay? And also at this time, so you understand your target assignments, I just want to tell you, Chris and Stefan, you will be side by side on number 1. The A and B just prints that way, okay? Everybody understand? All right, put your targets up, and we're going to be ready to rumble.
Well, I was waiting for Ready to Rumble at the Rushmore Rumble, and there it is. Bruce Cull said it, saving me from doing so. Chris, we got 20 archers. We've kind of had a bit of a lineup, and then that's changed, and then we had a bit of an order and a schedule, and that's changed. But actually, what's turned out is what we were hoping for. All 20 archers are going to be shooting at the same time to start this match off.
Yeah, we're going to be going wide for the first few ends until we just get down to a few archers, and then we're going to go one by one again. If we went one by one to start with, we'd be here all night. 20 fantastically talented archers. The top two qualifiers, Chris Perkins and Stefan Hansen, World Championship winners in 2011 and 2015. Mike Struser, also a Vegas champion, split them 2013, not there from the Netherlands. Another World Championship winner, Dave Cousins, 1999 Riom, he won the World Archery Championships. He is there, the 14th qualifier with 76 X's, 21 X's back on Chris Perkins, the top qualifier. Some fantastically talented shooters, young, experienced, I won't say old, in the foreground there. Dave Cousins and Chance Bobuff on the right. A lot of Vegas wins between them, a lot of massive titles on that line. This is a new one, the Rushmore Rumble.
It's great. I love it. It's absolutely fantastic. And like you say, we're going to shoot all together because, I mean, if we went one by one with a lineup of 20, we would be here all night. And, of course, it's a very important day. A lot of these people will be having arrangements for this evening there with their partners on Valentine's Day, having spent the weekend here at the Yankton Archery Centre. They deserve to go and have a nice romantic meal. Deathly silence from Chris Wells. World Archery, not a romantic at heart, obviously, like my good self. But we are ready to have practice to get underway. Chris, with such a massive lineup here, this sort of is reminiscent of looking at the field at the qualifying stages of an outdoor tournament.
I really want to say a big thank you to our staff.
The talent on this field is huge, as we were talking about. Chris Perkins, Stefan Hansen, both world champions, as is Dave Cousins, Jesse Broad, a field champion. Brady Gellenstein, very talented, world number one at the moment. A huge list of archers, and Bruce Cull there just thanking all of the people that have supported this event. Not the top ones on the line, but also the sponsor support and all the amateurs as well.
One last guy, an individual, a big thank you. A guy by the name of Greg Poole over here is the guy that called me up.
Well, some house going on here by Bruce Cull, thanking all the people involved in putting this together. Just a few weeks they've had to put this tournament on, replacing the Vegas Shoot this weekend. Vegas Shoot will be coming to you in April, being delayed off. There's a few nicknames in this lineup here. I think it was Dave Cousins, the Cooch. Jacob Pettit was the Body. Stefan Hansen, the Assassin. Chris, when you were a competitive archer, what was your nickname?
Last. I wasn't competitive enough to have a good nickname, unfortunately, Karim. Stefan Hansen.
We should come up with one for you, Chris. I'll have a think about that one. What would you call Chris Wells on the field of play if he was still shooting today? Maybe
Bruce
people
Cull
can
just
tweet
talking
their
about
answers in.
the Indoor World Series there. Everyone who's shot in this event, the first 60 arrows counting towards the Indoor World Series, the fourth remote stage of the Indoor World Series, which has been running since November.
You stumbled at the Rumble. Good luck, and here we go.
Yeah, so that's how they've managed to incorporate this amazing event into the brilliant series and circuit that has been put on by World Archery, this Indoor World Series, linking live tournaments with remote scoring as well. The practice getting underway here. Chris, how quickly can we expect the field to dwindle here?
If we drop any in the first ends, when we're on the Big Ten, I'd be surprised. But you never know. Someone might have a spurt of nerves. There's a lot of talent on that line, as we said. I'd say 3 or 4 ends, we should be down to the number. We go one by one, and then I think it's gonna come to a winner very, very quickly, because all the focus is on the person at full draw and their target. But you know, it's the wonderful and the kind of challenging thing about this format. We don't know how long it's going to take. We'll keep going until we've got that unbeaten winner.
Yeah, and as our in-venue host announced, what we're going to do is we're going to have this, as Chris called it, a wide view of what's going on as we start with our 20 archers. And as people get eliminated, we will get down to somewhere around 5 before we revert to what we've seen in the other competitions so far, and each archer shooting one by one. Predetermined time for their arrows when they're in this big group. Then the target judges will go down the line to confirm the scores. Time's up for practice. They'll go and retrieve their arrows. Oh, a little bit of repair work going on the stabilizer for one of the archers, and look at the camaraderie there. Is 3 of his competitors, his opponents, actually looking over to see if they can assist.
And no one wants to see someone have to retire because of an equipment issue. They want to be beaten on the target, don't they? So camaraderie to make sure everyone can compete. Only one winner from this line of 20.
Well, they've had their practice. They are getting themselves into their final preparation mode now. We are at the Rushmore Rumble and the 20-man lineup for the shootdown for the final title of 2021 at the Yankton Archery Centre. What do you say? Let's get on with end number 1.
For score, we are doing regular Vegas scoring with the Big Ten counting as 10. Good luck.
We'll start off with the Big Ten, and as Chris Wells has said, we're expecting all archers to progress through this first end. Let's get underway as we watch all the archers shoot their 3 arrows.
Go down the line, just taking a look to see if anyone's shaken on the first shot, but it doesn't look like it. Don't expect to see anyone go out in this first end on the big scoring. Of course, none of these archers have dropped a point on the Big Ten so far this weekend, although Lewis Price over on the right of target 6 looking a little bit dodgy on his bottom arrow. Should have survived though with those fat shafts these guys are shooting. Top end of the line, Chris Perkins, 2011 world champion, and Stefan Hansen one inside in the blue, the 2015 world champion.
Yeah, 2 seeds for this shoot down. Perkins from Canada, Hansen from Denmark. So they have all shot their first 3 arrows of end number 1, and all just taking a little view, some of them using their binoculars. I'll step up to the line as we wait for the target judges to come out. And they will come down the line confirming the scores. Starting with the Canuck Chris Perkins and Stefan Hansen on the far left-hand side of the screens. The bail right down the end with the 2 targets there are the leaders, and they're already moving on. So one would have to assume that our first 4, Perkins, Hansen, Petit, Householder, all with 30s. Having a little weight on the Galantine Johnson bail. Well,
Oh, we can see there.
Broadnax. Yeah.
Curtis Broadnax. He's dropped his bottom left target high and left.
Big round of applause for Curtis Broadnax.
Well, there you have it. Broadnax. Curtis, not Jesse, has taken 20th place by the looks of things.
For Bruce and our judges, that in took 3 minutes. At Vegas, it took 23 minutes.
Rivalry between the two host cities, Yankton and Vegas there. Just taking 3 minutes for the judges to come down the line. But it's Curtis Broadnax from Florida who has fallen at the first hurdle. The archers, the 19 remaining archers, almost ready to go again as they head into end number 2.
And gentlemen, this will be the first end of X-ring scoring. The X scores as a 10.
So there you have it. We're now down to the small 10 ring. 19 archers remaining.
The best way to know if someone's missed the 10 ring in this one is by the look on their faces. We expect this field to trim down fairly quickly. Quick glance at the targets though, and no one's got anything egregious so far.
No, it does look very solid for a lot of them, but of course that tiny 10 ring, very difficult to spot. You only need to be out by a mil, and that could be curtains for you. Sights looks like he may have just gone high and right on the bottom right target. I didn't really spot anything else, but I mean, I'm not suggesting Sights has gone out, but it just, if any of the arrows looked farther away from the center, that was the one. So end number 2 done. Chris, did you pick up anything there?
Yeah, Sights looks dodgy. Sam Wolfhouse also looks like he's got one a little too far out on his top target. All wanting to take a really good look. Everyone checking those a little bit off the line. Slowing things down in this second end when we're going to see far more archers drop away in this sudden death final. Remember, if they don't shoot the highest score on the field, they're out.
Yeah, and I think we can definitely say there's some 30s there. So everybody needs a 30 to stay in. 29 not good enough. This format, brutal. Conversely, perversely, the further the target is away from the camera, the easier it is to see what they've scored. Price looks like he's got a couple that are not bang in the center, but they do still look like they're going to be okay. Voltaire, as you mentioned, Chris, they're spending a little bit of extra time there. Cousins looks safe, and here's Cody Sights' target. They're having a good look at that one.
Wolfhouse is out for sure. That top one's definitely too low and left. Sights low and right. High and right, sorry, on that bottom right target. That's 2 we've lost at least. Looks like Scherer has one too high and right on the top. But Cole Frederick on target 10. Now alone since Curtis Broadnax fell away in the first one. Looks to be safe. So I think we're down to 17, but we'll need some confirmations.
Well, judges have done their tallies, but we have now the confirmation judge coming down the line as well.
Stephen Hansen, 30.
So we're getting the scores now, and then two 30s from the top two.
Robert Householder, 30. Braden Galantine, 29.
Well, Galantine has dropped a point, and he goes out.
Dane Johnson, 29.
As does the archer from Indiana, Dane Johnson.
Jacob Slusars, 30. Jesse Broadwater, 30. Jeff Rainey, 30. Nick Cappers, 30. Mark O'Mell, 30. Lewis Price, 29.
Well, we did have a question mark against Lewis Price, and he has indeed dropped a point.
Sam Waltice, 29.
And we thought Waltice would do the same, and he has gone as well.
Dave Cousins, 29.
Well, Cousins has gone as well. We thought he had a 30, but he's out with a 29. Well, this is Cody Seitz' target. Spending a great deal of time on this one. You can see Chance Boberth's target to the right. And Cody Seitz has gone out. Chance Boberth, it looks like he's got a 30.
James Ball, 30.
Scherer looks like
Scott
he's a
Shearer,
29 as well. It is a 29.
Cole Frederick, 30.
So there we have it. Gregory Scherer, Cody Seitz, Dave Cousins, Sam Walters, Lewis Price, Dane Johnson, and Braden Galantine all going down in the second end. So, well, that gets us down to just 12 athletes left, Chris. Just 12 going into N3.
Yeah, we said it was going to thin out as soon as we hit onto that small 10, and what we've really seen actually is the lower ranked archers come to this final. A lot of them have gone out, and we've had 7 of the bottom 10 fall away in this, or 7 of the bottom 9, at least 8 of the bottom 11. Cole Frederick, 230s, the lowest ranked archer in this final, stuck out on the right side of Bale number 10, but our top 4, Chris Perkins, Stefan Hansen, Jacob Petit, and Robert Householder still in this.
Yeah, the athletes now, the remaining athletes now changing their targets, clean target faces for end number 3. Interestingly, you talk about Cole Frederick as the lowest qualifier coming into this final. Standing out there on his own, maybe that little bit of distance from his nearest opponent will play in his favour.
Play in his favour, or perhaps exactly the opposite. We've seen this single arrow at a time shooting when you're on your own, when the focus on you, the pressure is higher. The less people around him to protect him, and you know, imagine he's in a bubble with everyone else, the more the focus is going to be on him, especially that side, as we get to end number 3.
So down to 12, you can see that the lineup has thinned out, but they will all still shoot their 3 arrows together. Well, Frederick has gone high with his first arrow, and that, I think, could spell his demise.
Nothing looking scary on either Chance Beaubuff or James Ball's targets. Two of the other lower qualifiers still remaining in this shoot down.
Yeah, they stand alone as a pair. Beaubuff and Balls.
Something a bit dodgy on Jeff Rainey's target there, though. I think that one could be... Oh no, that's Mark O'Mell.
Just taking his time with the last arrow there, but all done in end number 3. Well, it gets even harder, even though there's less there. What's your call here? You said you saw, was it O'Mell was had a bit of a stray one?
Cole Frederick, O'Mell, I think we're losing it. Those two for sure. We haven't really seen the targets down the far end. That'll be where business is occurring, but I don't think it'll be long before we're heading to single arrow shooting. Hansen also looks like he's pushed one high.
Interesting. The number 2 rank coming into this. There's a low one from Rainey as well. Is that still inside the small 10 though?
Broadwater's safe, I think.
Kappa's also looks like he's safe. Although they're having a look at the bottom left target. Quick look. I think... Oh, maybe he isn't. Maybe that bottom left is just a little too high. Now here's O'Mell's target. Required there. Oh, did Beaubuff drop his last arrow? Potentially. He was looking safe, as you said, Chris, but the bottom right target does look a little low and right.
Disappointing end for a very experienced archer. If so, ball looks safe though, so looks like we've got at least a few advancing into the 4th end.
Yeah, well, we wait the scores now.
Christopher Perkins, 30.
Top seed through.
Stephen Hansen, 30.
And Hansen does make it through as well.
Jacob Pettit, 30. Robert Householder, 30.
So the top 4 safely through. We know Galantine and Johnson have already gone.
Jacob Slusar, 30. Jesse Broadwater, 30. Jeff Rainey, 29.
So our first faller is Jeff Rainey. Kappa's is being measured again. It's that bottom left-hand target for Nick Kappa's. Minnesotan archer. He's definitely under scrutiny, as is Mark O'Mell. Kappa's goes through with effort.
Mark O'Mell, 29.
As you called it, Chris, Mark O'Mell has fallen as well.
Chance Beaubuff, 30.
So it's a 30 for Boberth. He did get away with it. His
James
ball's
Ball,
through.
30.
He is.
Cole Frederick, 28.
And it's a 28 from Frederick, so he will finish in 12th place. And now we are down to 10. So another few falling there. Chris, a few close calls, let's call them. A few athletes getting through by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah, we thought Stefan Hansen would be out there from what we could see on his target, but he must have just clipped the top of the line. 3 archers falling away from the 12 that started, so 9 going into this 4th end. The longer this goes out, the more chance someone just has a little worry, a little wobble. Just misses that very small 10 ring, just 2 centimeters in diameter. Just got to clip it. It's not a big target to hit. I'm interested to see if they decide to go to 1 by 1 shooting. But I think we'll wait at least one more end.
9 people. Yeah. Well, there you go. They continue to shoot as one group, down to 9, as Chris rightly said. It's time for end number 4. Well, shooting all together for the 4th end, down to 9. This is thrilling. I love this format, Chris. Is it something that we're going to see more often?
It's a very NFAA format. It's not a World Archery format, but Vegas, hugely famous indoor event. NFAA, not our standard member association in the US, USA Archery, allowing us to use the results from this tournament for the Indoor World Series. And I love the way that these events and this format just constricts down to one winner. It's really sudden death. It's really miss or you're out.
Yeah, great for the spectator as well. Getting a closer look at the top end of the order, Perkins, Hansen, Pettit and Household, looking fairly safe. He's just saw a chance, Boberth there, not so happy with his second arrow. Well, I have to say, James Balls looks like he's getting better and better. Down on the right-hand side, Balls and Boberth together on targets 8 and 9. Chris, did you spot anything there?
Same as you. I think we've got a definite one on that bottom right. It's difficult to see those at the far end, though. When we constrict, they'll probably move these targets towards the middle of this finals arena so we can all get a better look and just to bring them together and build the pressure as we get to a deciding last few shots.
Well, coming down the line fairly swiftly, it has to be said. It doesn't necessarily give away too much, especially seeing as we can't quite see those targets down to the left-hand side as we look down. Looks like a couple of drop points there, at least one for Kappers. He looks like he may well be going out, the archer from Minnesota.
You can see this field. Oh, top right one on the bottom. Sorry, bottom right arrow, top right on the 10 ring. I think that's definitely a 29 for chance. Boberth will be losing him, a very experienced multiple Vegas winner. But it's really the guys on the left, the top seeded guys. They seem to have survived these first early rounds and very experienced in the kind of head-to-head single arrow shooting that World Archery does.
29.
Perkins with a 29. So Perkins has gone.
Jacob Pettit, 30.
Well, We couldn't see Perkins' target. Canadian
Robert Householder, 30.
flying the maple leaf on his own has fallen.
Jacob Slusars, 30. Jesse Broadwater, 30. Nick Cappers, 28.
So Cappers, as we expected, has fallen as well.
Chance Bobeth, 29.
And Bobeth was marked down.
James Ball, 30.
Ball getting a 30. And there we have it. So Berber falling along with Cappers, but the big surprise, Chris Perkins, the #1 seed coming in, has fallen as well. So we are now down to 6 archers. Chris, we must now be going to single arrow shoot off.
It wouldn't surprise me if we might do one more end in this format before Master of Ceremony, Bruce Cull, NFA President, decides to rearrange them. I think he's just having a little rendezvous to decide when they do that.
Yeah, having a little discussion, and now the archers stepping forward.
Yeah, he's going to move them to the middle of the arena. Center everybody in the center of the of these 20-lane finals. Target. Again, I said it at the start. I really love this event where the guys in the finals have to put their own targets up, have to rearrange their targets when they're moved. It's unbelievably raw, unbelievably, yeah.
Yeah, back to basics. He's quite right too. Sort yourselves out. Nice clean targets for everyone as well. Well, lots of discussion going on at the moment as the athletes are down there replacing their targets and moving, as Chris rightly said, to a more central position. Better for us, better for the spectators in the venue as well, to get a clear sight. And of course, they're all standing next to each other as well, which brings drama on its own. So, Chris, was it a surprise for you to see Perkins fall, dropping his first points in the 4th end to not make it through?
Well, it's not an easy target to hit, that 2-centimeter 10 ring. He won Vegas a few years ago in unfortunate circumstances where he actually lost the shoot-off, but the winner, Bobby Eiler, was disqualified after failing a drugs test. So he didn't get his moment in the fame. He'll be going back to Vegas again to try and get that championship title and that championship celebration win he truly deserves. Obviously, he got the prize money, he got the ring, he got all the accoutrements that come with a Vegas win, but not that moment of celebration, which is a tough thing. Perkins, fantastic competitor, as we said, 2011 World Archery Champion, but it's really easy to miss that small X, that small 10 ring, especially when the pressure's on. But we have got, you know, those top qualifiers, Stefan Hansen, Jacob Petit, Robert Householder, 3 of the top 4 remaining in this competition. James Ball, the lone lower qualifier on target number 8 now.
Yeah, he looks like he's been getting better and better through this shoot down. We're down to 6, and it's time for end number 5.
And progressing on up with our last shooter being Stefan Hansen.
Well, we are going to shoot from closest to farthest here. James Ball will get end number 5 underway. We're down to the archers shooting 1 by 1, down to 6, going for the biggest score.
All right, good luck.
different kind of pressure, shooting one by one. James Ball will shoot first. For me, he could be the surprise package here. Very calm, very methodical, straight into the 10 ring. Floridian, Jesse Broadwater, also a 10. Hailing from New York, Jacob Slusars. A longer hold, but another 10. A lot of grit and determination on the face of the New Yorker. He's from Alabama. It's Robert Householder.
Four 10s so far. 4 archers into this 5th end.
The body, Jacob Petit from Colorado. Another 10. And the lone foreigner, Stefan Hansen, known as the Assassin, highest seed still left in. Also into the small 10. So calm. Longer hold this time from Broadwater. Result is the same. Another 10. Who is going to drop points first? Well, that is very good indeed. Another 10. So it's over to Householder. Well, it's touching the line, so that will be a 10. Remember, they're aiming for something that's not much bigger than a €1 piece or a dime. It's a small area of target they're trying to hit, and all of them so far in this 5th end have hit a 10. Pressure building all the time to our final archer, Stefan Hansen. And he again has clipped the 10. So nothing between them. Didn't look happy with that one, and that could be a dropped point for James Balls. Well, it looks like a 30 for Jesse Broadwater. I think he's safe and through. Jacob Slusars again, slightly longer hold than most of them in the lineup. Also looking solid with 30s. Looks a little right, but I fancy that's still a 10 as well for Robert Householder. A man from Alabama looking like he should be going through, but we will keep an eye on that one. Jacob Petit from Colorado. He didn't look happy, but that looks like a 30 to me. Hansen looking very relaxed, but I think that's questionable as well. Is that a 29 for Stefan Hansen, Chris?
No, that was the wrong target. They showed Bull's target when Hansen released. Bull's definitely got a 29. We didn't see Hansen's target from the last 2 arrows, but there wasn't a bad look on his face, so let's assume he's all right.
Yeah, good spot there that we were looking at Bull's target. You can feel the tension in the crowd looking on. The format of this competition lends itself to an audience understanding exactly what's going on. Basically, you've got to score 30, otherwise you're going out, put simply. So it looks like we've got pretty quick scores on the doors here. Announcer ready to call.
Stefan Hansen, 30.
Hansen is safe.
Jacob Pettit, 30.
Pettit also through. Householder's last arrow. Was it out?
Robert Householder, 30.
It was not.
Jacob Slusars, 30. Jesse Broadwater, 30.
He looks safe. So this is the big one as James Bull's run ended. Still having a look at the arrow, bottom right target. It sounds like it's a 29 for James Balls. It looks like he is going out.
29, James Ball.
And it is 6th place for James Balls of Kansas. He is out of the tournament. What a fantastic tournament he's had here at the Rushmore Rumble in Yankton. It's 6th place to him, and we are down to 5. Chris, phenomenal shooting from 5 of our 6 remaining archers, and just a 29 for James Ball.
Yeah, and that bottom right target, it was close to the arrow as well. It wasn't a mile out. We expected to see a few more drop as soon as we switched to that one at a time shooting, but you know, every end that goes on, the pressure ramps up. It's only a tiny mistake that's needed to lose a point, and we'll see if that comes in end number 5.
Yeah, certainly will. We've lost another one, down to 5. Let's move on to the next end. So now shooting first, the Floridian Jesse Broadwater. Cool, calm and collected. And that is the result, a 10 in the small 10 ring. As we move on to Jacob Slusas. Didn't look so happy. I'm looking at that thinking that's probably clipped the 10. Chris, would you agree?
Yeah, no doubt there. Half shaft in at the bottom, but it was a long hold, like you said previously.
Householder, similar position, but looks like he's clipped the 10 as well. What can the body do? Looks like another 10 for him, and a Danish assassin, Stefan Hansen. Another one that's close. Probably a 10 for him, so we move back to Jesse Broadwater. It's time for the 5 archers to shoot their second arrows.
No nerves on these halfway through this second round. Down the line, getting a little bit closer to the edge. There's a little wobble needed, pressure building. No doubt from Robert Householder. It's all about aim in compound archery. This guy is showing some of the best of it. Oh, but that's a violent release from Jacob Petit. Definitely a 9. He's looking out of shape in this one.
Well, we'll come through the second arrows, and as Chris said, it looks like Jacob Petit from Colorado is, well, in trouble. Broadwater looking safe. The long hold, Sluisars paying off. That first arrow was the only one that could be questioned, but I think he's through with a 30. Householder looking very calm, but well, probably a little nervy moment here. Now we think Petit's already dropped points. So finishing with the 29 for Jacob Petit. Hansen bang in the middle as well. Now, we think we've potentially just lost one. Jacob Petit, we think, Chris, is the only one to have dropped points in that sixth end.
Yeah, we saw that violent release on his second arrow, and it flung low and left, and there was not a chance that one hit the 10 ring. He's got a 29, and he'll be leaving. The others, though, solid 30s. It's slow, but we're whittling these chaps down. Looks like we'll be down to 4 at the end of this end once we get confirmation from the targets.
Yeah, so we think it's 30 for Hansen, Householder, for Sluisars and Broadwater. Those will be our 4 remaining going into end number 7. We think it's Jacob Petit who has dropped a point with that violent release, as Chris has described it, and his second arrow. He got away with a 9, but at this level and with the standard of shooting we've got here, it's just not enough. And there is Hansen confirmed through.
Jacob Petit, 29.
As we thought, Petit has gone and will pick up 5th place.
Robert Householder, 30. Jacob Sluisars, 30. Jesse Broadwater, 30. Give it up to Jacob Petit, 5th place in the Rushmore Rumble.
So 4 through the 6th end. It's Jacob the Body Petit who goes out, the archer from Colorado, taking 5th place here at the 2021 Rushmore Rumble. And the archers will replace their targets yet again as we head into the next end. Pressure building here, but Chris, the archers are still hitting the very center of that target.
Yeah, it's not easy. 2 centimeter 10 ring, and it's a little mistake that it takes. It really is sudden death at this event. If you just wobble a little bit, you're out. As you see, Stefan Hansen adjusting over. He's moving tighter in. So we're on the center 4 targets. Difficult to keep changing targets, difficult to keep changing location, but very experienced archer is Stefan Hansen, being a world champion and all. It's tough, you know. Archery is all about hitting the middle, but when the mental game is not to miss, it's really hard to stop that doubt from creeping in and stop those wobbles, and that's what we're waiting for here. The further we get in this shoot down, the more those wobbles will start in the knees, creep up the body, and just manifest in a slightly off release, a slightly off aim, and an arrow just outside the 10 ring.
Yeah, we are down to the nitty gritty now. This is where it really counts, and you've got to stay on your A game. You can't let the emotions get the better of you. The consistency is so crucial in the action. We are, as I say, down to 4, and now it's time for end number 7.
We're out of time. Jesse Broadwater will start. Jesse, you are on the clock.
So here we go, end number 7, and it's Florida's Jesse Broadwater to get us underway. Not happy with that. My feeling
Looks
is
like he's caught it though.
Yeah, I was going to say the same. It looks like he's caught it, but wasn't happy with the execution. Ooh, that's just clipped the line for me. So I think they've all got away with 10s there.
Jesse Broadwater shooting now, looking the most comfortable of the bunch in my eyes. A lot of archers now using this nose button. He's one of them. 2 10s from 2 arrows in this 7th end. Slussage had that dodgy release, but caught the 10 with his first. Is that playing on his mind?
Looked happier with that one.
Just looks difficult.
Yeah, it's a lengthy process he goes through. It's got him this far though. Householder dancing around the ring of the middle 10. Hansen just having a little look at that one, and that looks like it's going to have to be measured, that second arrow from Stefan Hansen. Chris's pick, Jesse Broadwater. Solid. Well, another 30 by the looks of things for Jacob Slussage.
Massive contrast between Slussage's shot, very explosive, and Robert Householder, who's very, very static, and Householder creeping further and further out with each arrow as well.
Yeah, it looks like he may well have clipped a 9 on that one. Hansen looking like he's just about got a 10 on his third. That's the 7th end done. Now, 2 interesting calls here, and it's the top 2 remaining seeds. Stefan Hansen from Denmark and Robert Householder of Alabama look like they have 1 questionable arrow each, Chris.
It depends on the width of shaft that Stefan Hansen's shooting. If he's shooting the fat 27s, he'll have clipped it on the right, I think. If he's shooting the thinner arrows, it's going to be out, and hands on hips, it's difficult to tell. For Stefan Hansen, he might have gotten away with it.
Well, let's find out. The judges just doing their second run. It was a 30 for Hansen. He survived. He's through. Householder also through with a 30.
Jacob Slussage, 30.
And we think that Slussage and Broadwater are perfectly safe. And they are all four progress through the 7th end. All four are into the 8th. But you have to say, did Stefan Hansen and Robert Householder get away with it? Chris?
Yeah, Householder very static in his release. I won't say a puncher, but he clicks that trigger and you can see his thumb dancing around the trigger on his release aid before he lets go. When he started this, he was much tighter in the middle. Now he's on the edge a little bit. It's only going to take a slight wobble, a slight shake, and he's going to drop a point, and we're going to lose another one.
Well, 4 remain in the competition as we move into end number 8. Jesse Broadwater will shoot first again. Very, very solid. Lots of steps in the process for Sluisas. And that is looking like it's gone into the 9.
Shake of the head. Well out.
Squeaky moment in the 7th end for Householder, but that's a good start into the 10 with his first arrow in the 8th. Slightly longer hold from Stefan Hansen. Now, is that one in?
Same direction as his first one. That was a little too far, but that's further. I think that's a 9.
Broadwater calm and solid with a 10. Well, Sluisas well out, as Chris put it, with his first arrow. That's back in the center for Sluisas, but the 9 on the first arrow could be the killer for him. Householder back up. Looking very composed. And we think shot a 9 with his first arrow. It's currently marked on the scoreboard as a 10. So we definitely have to wait to hear what the target judge says. That one has gone right into the center.
That's misleading because of the hole in the target from the last round. But Hansen on a 19 here. Just Broadwater and Householder. Broadwater shooting now 30 for this 8th end.
Yeah, Broadwater safe. Sluisas now cannot make it through, even if he scores a 10. Doesn't look happy with that either. And I think it was actually not happy with the very first arrow. 29 means he will go out. Now, can Householder get another 10 here? Got to keep his composure to stay in the game. Question mark. I've got it down as a 10, but I think that third arrow will be measured. Now, Hansen dropped a point with his first arrow, we think. Finishes with 2 10s. It's all going to be about the measure here. Now, it could be that Jesse Broadwater has done this. We think Sluisas, well, we know Sluisas dropped on his first arrow. We think Hansen dropped on his first arrow. Did Householder keep his third arrow in the 10 and stay in this competition with Jesse Broadwater? Well, target judges are down and reviewing.
They're taking a much closer look at that top face on Hansen's target, the one where, you know, I'm convinced it's out from a long way away. A little look at the reaction of the The people, everyone's going to go and have a look at it. If he's caught that, he's gotten away with one there. Be very lucky if he has.
Well, they had a very quick look at Householders as well, so I wonder if that's a simple 30 for him. And they just moved straight on to Sluisars. It's intriguing. Sluisars had a good view, but I think it was clear for Sluisars, and I think it's pretty clear for Jesse Broadwater as well. Final review, and we're going to get the call very soon here. Are we going into a ninth end? And if we are, will Stefan Hansen be in it? Gut feeling was the first arrow was a 9, but as Chris mentioned, the previous hole in the target may be not only misleading, but also very distracting for the judges here. Clearly having a difficulty, but they've now made their decision.
29.
It is a 29 for Stefan Hansen, but just let's wait for the remainder of the calls here.
Robert Householder, 30.
Householder is through. Another look at Jacob Sluisars' target here.
I'm surprised they're taking so long on it. In my opinion, that's clearly out, and he thought it was clearly out as well. Head's shaking.
Jacob Sluisars, 29.
It is a 29, so Sluisars has gone. He will finish in 4th place.
30.
And it's a 30 for Jesse Broadwater, so that means Stefan Hansen finishes in 3rd, and we are down to 2. It's Robert Householder of Alabama who's made it through the 8th end, and he will go up against Jesse Broadwater of Florida to shoot off for the title here in the men's tournament at the Rushmore Rumble. There are now further discussions here, and it seems that Householder is involved in that. Hansen having a good look at his top arrow here as well. Now, is there a query? Hansen doesn't, well, not showing huge amounts of emotion, but clearly wasn't completely happy with the decision.
Jacob Sluisars, they're going to pin up new target faces on target lots 5 and 6. And for our grand finale, Robert Householder and Jesse Broadwater will be in the waiting to shoot off for the first ever Rushmore Rumble Championship.
Well, so by the sounds of things, Chris, they're actually going to have a shoot-off between Stefan Hansen and Jacob Sluisars for 3rd place.
Yeah, they have to decide all 3 spots on the podium. So because there was a tie for that 3rd spot, they're going to have a couple of ends to decide who gets that. Like we've had in the women's and the seniors previously. Obviously, it won't be from the start again. We'll just carry straight on. We're on small 10, and the first one to miss will be the one that ends up in 4th. Actually, it won't be 4th because what happens is for those off the podium, it's ranked on X count over the whole event. So there's a big difference in money between winning this 3rd spot and not.
Yeah, well, here it is, the playoff for 3rd spot. Jacob Sluisars will shoot first in end, well, what effectively is end number 1 for 3rd place.
Let's call it end 8.5. Hopefully
Yeah.
our crew has something prepared for that.
And no delay, they're just straight into it, having had the going through the emotions of having effectively been knocked out of the main tournament. These two have had to pick themselves up and dust themselves off in a matter of seconds, both coming out with big 10s in their first arrow, and Jacob Sluisars getting a 10 with his second. Very close, but another 10 for Hansen. Didn't look happy with that.
He doesn't look very happy with anything so far, and that was 3 10s.
Yeah, it looked perfect to me. Yeah, another 10 for him. Can Hansen match him? Having a look. Very close, but I think that probably has clipped, and looks like both have got 30s here. We'll wait for the target judges to make their call. Very difficult for these athletes, having shot so well throughout the weekend, to lose and then just have to immediately get back into it to face each other for third place. Hansen gets confirmed with a 30, and I think it's going to be the same for Sluisars. So we will go into the second end 8.6 using Chris's terminology for this playoff. Meanwhile, of course, we've got Robert Householder and Jesse Broadwater waiting in the wings, maybe happy to have a little bit of a rest before they shoot for the top spot.
Archers, this is your 9th shoot-off end. 9th or 10th? 10th shoot-off end. You have completed a full game. Jacob, you will be shooting first. Jacob, you are on the clock.
So here we go. End number 2 of the third place face-off. Jacob Sluisars here going up against Stefan Hansen. Long hold even for Jacob Sluisars. Not happy with that either. What's the result? Right. Dropped points. Looks like it's clipped the 9 ring for Sluisars.
Oh, well in the 9, but definitely a 9. That's 1 point down. Hansen in a commanding position now.
Yeah, quick second arrow from him as well, and very little reaction. Someone had to make a mistake. Another long hold from Sluisars here. A 29 to finish. Hansen see the target, but we think from his reaction he's on a perfect score here. Can he finish with another 10? He gives it a yes, and it is a 30 for Stefan Hansen, and he claims the all-important third place here at the Rushmore Rumble in the men's tournament. An amazing little performance from him towards the end. He didn't look very happy with the results of the 8th end of the regular competition. I think he thought he'd shot 3 10s, had to settle for going into a playoff and held his nerve. Stefan Hansen of Denmark takes third here at the Rushmore Rumble.
Yeah,
Chris, a real challenge for these athletes, isn't it?
Yeah, he came in as the second qualifier to this shoot down, 85 X's. He did a couple that were just kind of on the line and got them called up, and then that one in the 8th end, just perhaps a millimeter too far out. Stayed strong in that 3rd place shoot off, and Jacob Sluchards was just getting more and more tired in a way. You know, these guys have shot 30 arrows for score in this shoot down already. That's a lot of arrows in a very short space of time. A bit of tiredness creeping in, and Jacob was holding his arrows for a long time at full draw, starting to loosen up, and you know, he didn't look comfortable. One of them in the main event went out. One of them in the 3rd place way out went out, and Stefan Hansen, stronger for longer, takes 3rd place here.
Great performance. Good deal of resilience to recover from going out of the main draw. But that is where we're going to return now. It's Robert Householder of Alabama, Jesse Broadwater of Florida. It's end number 9, and they're going for the top spot here at the Rushmore Rumble.
Jesse, you are on the clock.
Jesse Broadwater to shoot first. Straight into the 10 ring.
He's looked so calm, so comfortable so far in this event.
The first sign of a little emotion there from Householder. Chris, was that a 9 or has it just clipped the 10?
Well, he's taking a good look at it. I took a good look at it too. I think that one's just clipped. He's been edging closer to the outside edge of the line through these last few ends, and I think that one, after the small break, has not quite clipped it.
Interesting. So a 9 for Householder, called by Chris Wells. Settles back in, and it's another one. This one looks a little close to the line. I've put it down as a 10. Can Broadwater provisionally put this one out of reach? He's not happy with that, and that's why that's a 9. So Householder, we think, needs a 10 here to stay in the match. Longer hold. Looks happy. That's why. That's his best arrow of the 9th end. We think it's 29 apiece. I think the athletes both think it's 29 apiece as well, as they walk down to about 4 meters away from the target. The judges are already out. Down to 2 athletes does make this process just a little bit quicker. Very quick look at Householder's target.
Robert Householder, 29.
So 29 for Householder. And a 29 for Broadwater. We go into a 10th end with these two inseparable at the moment, Chris. Can you see any breaks in the armor anywhere?
Absolutely, we haven't seen a step wrong, even the hint of a step wrong from Jesse Broadwater up until this point, and he had a chance to put it away, and he knew he had a chance to put it away, and you could see on his face after that 3rd shot, it just wasn't there. He had a chance to win that there and didn't do it. Cracks appearing for Householder for a little while now into this 10th end. That tiredness coming in. We'll see if he can hold it together.
Well, here it is. We're down to 2, and we're into the 10th end. Broadwater making a little adjustment to his sight there after that first arrow. solid from Robert Householder. That one looks like it's clear in the 9 for Broadwater. Householder has an opportunity here. Job 1 of 2 done for Householder. Broadwater's just got to put this in the 10 to keep some pressure on Robert Householder. Jesse Broadwater from Florida. Well, it looks like a 29 for me. Can Robert Householder put this in the 10 and provisionally take the first Rushmore Rumble title? It is in the 10 by the looks of things. So now it's all about that second arrow for Jesse Broadwater, Chris.
Yeah, it's close. It's close. It'll be a millimeter in or out. We've seen some called that we didn't think were in, but that one is a little bit too far for me.
Yeah, it's a tough call. They look like they're ready to call it already. Arms crossed. Both the athletes looking on intently, trying to keep their emotions at bay.
2021 Robert Householder.
Well, there we have it. Jesse Broadwater from Florida just dropped 1 point in that 10th then to get a 29, and it means that the archer from Alabama, Robert Householder, is the inaugural winner of the Rushmore Rumble here in Yankton in 2021.
Yeah, and a
Chris,
really fantastic performance
stuff,
from
hey?
Robert Householder. He was great. That wobble in the 9th end, he was edging around the edge of the 9, but he just kept strong. He dropped that single point. Jesse Broadwater had the chance to put it away. Super experienced archer, Jesse Broadwater, but just couldn't deliver what he needed in that 9th end. So in the 10th end, Householder kept stronger. Jesse just dropped one a little bit out. There was no cracks in Jesse's game for most of that shoot down, but Householder stronger for longer, and that was a really long shoot down. A lot of arrows to shoot in a short space of time. There's mental fatigue, there's the pressure, but ultimately there's the physical fatigue as well. Heavy bows, a lot going on, and yeah, he. I thought he was going to drop it. I thought that was Jesse's from the performance at the start, but he just couldn't deliver when he needed in the 9th end, and that was the story of it.
Yeah, it's a fascinating format, isn't it? Because I mean, we started with 20, we very quickly thinned down, and by end number 5, what we were down to 6 athletes. But then it seemed to keep going, and I think you're right. It was the fact that you've got this physical, you need the longevity, also the mental discipline to stay in there. Tough for Hansen and Sluzars as well to lose and then to come back and fight off for the 3rd place.
Yeah, absolutely. No one wants to shoot off for 3rd place. You want to shoot off for 1st. So there's the disappointment of losing. Sluzars was just getting more and more uncomfortable. Experience, setup, fatigue, I don't know. But he didn't look happy with lots of his shots as we were getting into the kind of the back length of that shoot down. Stefan Hansen, super experienced, and yeah, he came back. He dropped a point. He had a couple on the edge that we thought he was going to go out earlier. He kept strong, and he delivered right at the end when he needed to take that 3rd spot on the podium, and a big bump in paycheck, because after the podium it's ranked on X count. But really the story was all that 9th end. Jesse Broadwater had the chance to win it, couldn't deliver. He knew it, disappointed, and he just wasn't as comfortable in the 10th. Householder recovered from a little bit of a shake, a little bit of a worry to come home with the win here. The first Rushmore Rumble title.
Yeah, a brilliant job done by all to put this competition on in just a matter of weeks. They did a fabulous job for the inaugural Rushmore tournament, and it was absolutely, it was a massive rumble. It was huge. It was brilliant. Our winners, well, in the youth division, it was Brody Turner. The Masters went to Randy Morocco. Toy Ellison took the women's title, and of course, there we saw Robert Householder running away with the men's title. Well, not quite, but taking it in the 10th. It was a brilliant, brilliant tournament. Chris, as always, thank you very much to you, and thanks to all of you for watching. Don't forget, we've got our circuit finals coming up on the 27th and 28th of February. Do please join us then.